Hello everyone and welcome to another Top 5 Records video. It's been 50 years since 1975, and 1975 is a very special year for a lot of genres because great achievements and great steps have been made for loads of genres like soul, funk, country, rock and ambient music, especially ambient music. So today, without further ado, let's celebrate it with the 50 best albums from 1975. With at number 50, Rod Stewart, Atlantic Crossing. Though I think the artwork of this record is horrible, and a lot of Rod Stewart fans were a little bit afraid because he was taking steps into a different territory, more disco-oriented pop territory. I think this counts as one of his best and biggest achievements. This record has at least two of the best ballads of the 70s. I Don't Want to Talk About It and Sailing. And these are moments in which the beautiful, tender elements of his voice come together so well to bring beautiful, unique songs. At number 50, Rod Stewart, Atlantic Crossing. But if that's all a little bit too sweet for you, you can wash your taste buds with some progressive rock here. At 49, Gentle Giant with the album Freehand. Gentle Giant was a progressive rock band that never left any stone untouched to get the most progressive, avant-garde, way out there sound, technique and edge out of rock. They never made it easy for themselves and they never made it easy for their listeners. But if you are willing to give them some of your time, they will give you songs, structures that you will never forget. At number 49, Gentle Giant, Freehand. At number 48, time for The Who by Numbers. And on this record, The Who is having a lot of fun. This is not one of the albums like Who's Next or Tommy or My Generation that has the big hits, and I recently did a video with the top 10 The Who albums, and some people even thought that I didn't really like this album. I do like this album. This is The Who having great fun. Not top 5, top 10, and definitely top 50 for this awesome year in music, 1975. At number 48, The Who by Numbers. At number 47, Klaus Schulze with Time Wind, a Berlin school space ambient musician who was pushing the boundaries with this stuff. I truly love the imagination, both on the artwork and in the sounds that he's giving you. Also, there's a lot of music here, and somehow the quality of the way it's pressed is just astonishing. Also, this is the way Schulze wants to communicate with you on the back cover about his music. I mean, this guy has something to say, and it's beautiful and it's unique. At 47, Klaus Schulze with Time Wind. At 46, a record that I'm still looking to buy on vinyl. It is Funkadelic Let's Take It to the Stage, which is not, as the title suggests, a live album. It's just George Clinton pushing all these funky sounds to a new level with great songs like Good to Your Earhole or Better by the Pound. Eddie Hazel here is on fire. Beautiful record. If I ever find an original pressing, because I love the sound of these American original pressings, I'm gonna buy it and I'll share it with you on this channel. So moving forward to number 45, Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. There are two Alice Coopers. Of course, there is Alice Cooper as the performer, the vocalist, who adopted the name of Alice Cooper, the band, the way they started off. And I'm not too sure if this is already just Alice Cooper, the vocalist, with the name, or still the band. I believe this may be one of the first, but there must be some Alice Cooper fans out there who are more accurate in this regard. But there is an Alice Cooper that is really frightening, and there's Alice Cooper who is carnival frightening. This is Alice Cooper carnival frightening, like an amusement ride on and honestly, I really dig it because there's a lot of fun going on here. Opening with the track Welcome to My Nightmare, which also sounds gorgeous. You get a song like Devil's Food and The Black Widow. And The Black Widow has the voice of none other than Vincent Price. And Vincent Price is one of the big Hollywood horror actors. Not only Hollywood, he also did some Edgar Allan Poe adaptations for... brilliant actor, and he is the voice in Thriller, so Michael Jackson's Thriller. So you got Alice Cooper, you got Vincent Price, and you got Bob Ezrin, brilliant producer, doing this stuff. Awesome album. At 45, Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. And to some rock fans, this is also a nightmare, but we must acknowledge what needs to be acknowledged. At number 44, Kiss Alive. And I think this is the best thing Kiss ever did. Sometimes when I'm doing these lists, people say you should not include live albums. And I think I disagree, because sometimes a live moment is the best moment of a band. For The Who, Live at Leeds, Deep Purple, Made in Japan. Same can be said for Kiss Alive, although the story has it that most of this stuff was actually dubbed, because technically they were not performing the way they should. Does it matter? No, because the energy on this record is just stunning. When you hear this performance of Rock and Roll All Night and Party Every Day, there is some beautiful mid-70s, mid-America excitement going on here. Take a look at this picture on the back. I mean, this is the vibe, and I love it. At number 44, Kiss Alive. Let me take a sip of my tea before I continue. Sorry. Yes, from Kiss, it may be a long leap. It may be a long step. Yeah, it's a long step. From Kiss, we're moving towards 43, ABBA. With their self-titled album, but as people may see, the version I have says I do, which is actually the way it was released in South Africa. This is a South African pressing, which is not a very good pressing, but I should buy another one someday soon. Why is it in the list at 43? Because ABBA has some of the best songwriting out there. Björn and Benny, they can make a single song have so many melodies that other composers or other bands would make 3 or 4 songs out of what for Björn and Benny would be one song. And you've got beautiful highlights here like Mamma Mia, SOS, and of course in this case, title track, I Do. Not just those hits. The entirety is really good, but those hits, oh man. ABBA on fire. At 43, ABBA. At 42, another record that I'm not going to hold up. I do have it, but I actually don't have it with me in my home right now. It's the Eagles, One of These Nights. This was the big breakthrough for the Eagles. And how am I going to explain the power of this record? First of all, it's a great record as a whole, but it's also the record that has the following singles: One of These Nights, Lion Eyes. I love the harmonies of Lion Eyes, and Take It to the Limit. Man, the Eagles did an awesome job here. At number 42, the Eagles, One of These Nights. At 41, from some country rock or pop rock, always hard to say what is what precisely genre-wise, we are moving towards one of the big avant-garde artists, John Cale with Slow Dazzle. This record has some of the finest songs John Cale actually wrote. Darling, I Need You. And it is such a beautiful, powerful recording. He does a great cover of Heartbreak Hotel, the Elvis Presley song, and Guts. That song, Guts. Ooh, and that somewhat says a lot about the entirety of this record. This record has guts, it has power, it has John Cale with a leather jacket and sunglasses, just as his big Velvet Underground colleague Lou Reed had that year, who's not going to appear in this list, by the way. But we'll talk about that in another video. I love Lou Reed, though. So, at number 41, John Cale with Slow Dazzle. At number 40, we're moving towards country with Emmylou Harris and Pieces of the Sky. But not just country. Emmylou Harris shows herself to be a very open, gentle, honest, and fragile performer here. This is more, although it's definitely a country record, but the influence of hippie culture is audible here. And I think that makes this record so exciting. Well, that, and of course, the beautiful, gorgeous, stunning voice of Emmylou Harris. At number 40, Pieces of the Sky. And we are moving towards the number 39, and nothing could be further away from Emmylou Harris than The Dictators with Go Girl Crazy. This is a lot of fun, and it's audible that the artists here are having a lot of fun. This record opens with The Next Big Thing, and this is one of the big influences and big bricks for the development of punk rock. And it opens with a speech saying, I don't have to do this. Really taking away the urge or something like that and messing around. Then you got a cover of I Got You Babe. And though it's obvious that the members here are goofing around, I think there is some genuine sincerity in when they're doing this Sonny and Cher cover, I Got You Babe. Love it. It's goofy, geeky, but there's something honest there. The last track of side 1, Master Race Rock. What a title. Nevertheless, it does contain one of the best guitar solos of the year. And I'm not saying that lightly, because later on in this list we are actually going to have one of the best guitar solos in rock history. Yeah. This, however, is one of the best guitar solos of the year. Fierce, fireful, beautiful. If you haven't heard it, do try Master Race Rock. Awesome song. Though disputable title, of course. At 39, The Dictators, Go Girl Crazy. At number 38, Aerosmith with Toys in the Attic. Now, Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. I did a video about the top 25 best hard rock albums ever a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of people said that the lack of Aerosmith in there obviously showed a European interest in the genre. Well, here is me saying sorry for excluding Aerosmith, because of course Aerosmith is a beautiful band, a gorgeous band, and this is one of their big records. In its entirety, great. Title track is great, but any record that has both Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion does have an impact. And what a gorgeous, powerful, hard rockin' show it is. At number 38, Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. At 37, another big jump, because Dion, Born to Be With You. Don't be distracted by this tacky cover and artwork, because this appears to be the cover for me has this sort of like pop, a pop element in there, but also this highbrow, pretentious thing going on. Though when you put this on, you'll be listening to some of the most sweetest, beautiful, somewhat poppy, but I like pop as well. There's nothing wrong with pop. beautiful, sweet, flowing, gorgeous sounds. This really is a masterpiece. I think so. This is a masterpiece, and I should listen to it more often. I'm already enjoying it a lot, but this does still challenge me to keep putting it on again, because there is something going on there. There's a unique vision, there's a unique sound. Dijon made a gorgeous record here. At 37, Dijon, Born to Be With You. Or is it Dion? I'm not sure. It's always tough to know how to pronounce names. At number 36, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, which has a fascinating story because Deep Purple was touring together with the band Elf, which featured vocalist Ronnie James Dio, one of the best vocalists ever. I mean, not just metal vocalist, he was one of the best vocalists ever. And Blackmore was intrigued because he noticed that his band Deep Purple was moving more and more towards soul, blues, and funk-oriented music, which he did not find that interesting. So he wanted to move on, and he heard the most awesome hard rock band. And he asked them to make a record together, and Elf was suddenly not called Elf anymore, but Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, which nevertheless was the beginning of the band Rainbow, which is one of the finest moments in hard rock history. And the collaboration between Ronnie James Dio and Ritchie Blackmore is one of the most brilliant collaborations out there. This record, though recording quality is not that stunning, I'd love to hear a new master of this, does contain brilliant song after brilliant song, opening with Man on the Silver Mountain, ending side one with Catch the Rainbow. That is a ballad beyond recognition. Side two has Temple of the King, which is one of my all-time favorite deep cuts. It's so good. 16th Century Greensleeves and Still I'm Sad. The quality on this record, songwriting-wise, performing-wise, is just way out there. What an album. At 36, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. At 35, yes, I made a last-minute correction there, so it took me a little bit to correct what I've written down together with what I'm gonna hold up. But at 35, Brian Eno, Discreet Music, another brilliant new step in the world of ambient. Brian Eno going solo in a very small amount of time made a lot of great albums, and he was going through so many different genres. He was diving into glam rock together with David Bowie. Right after this, he was diving into, shall we say, Krautrock? Well, Krautrock oriented stuff. And here he is just flowing into the world and creating basically the fundamentals for ambient music. Discreet music sounds stunning. At number 35, Brian Eno, Discreet Music. At number 34, I already just mentioned his name, and it was time he would appear in this list, wasn't it? At 34, David Bowie, Young Americans. Young Americans. Yeah. I've been talking so much about David Bowie on my channel already, and I'm wondering what can I add to what I already said, but doesn't matter. Title track Young Americans is spectacular. Fascination is a great song. Somebody Up There Likes Me is good. For some reason he did cover Across the Universe, a Beatles cover, which I don't particularly like. Lennon was there when he recorded. He didn't really like it. But he makes it all worthwhile when later on, together with Lennon, he wrote and recorded the song Fame, which is also on here. David Bowie making what he called plastic soul. At number 34, David Bowie, Young Americans. At 33, well, one of the, for me, big moments in the world of hard rock. I think this band was on fire. Nazareth with Hair of the Dog. This record I told about this in the hard rock video about this label sounding so awesome, so full, and basically it's not a label. It's a television or radio and television station. So I'm more puzzled. Let's get back to the songs here. Nazareth playing songs like "Guilty," the beautiful song written by Randy Newman, but the soar, raging voice here. Brilliant songs like "Miss Misery," "Hair of the Dog," "Whiskey Drinking Woman," "Please Don't Judas Me." This is powerful. This is stunning. This is unique. At 33, Nazareth with "Hair of the Dog." At 32, this was actually not recorded in 1975, but released in 1975. It is Bob Dylan and the band The Basement Tapes. These are the songs that they recorded in I believe it's the Pink House in Woodstock, in the late 60s, as a matter of fact. And there were bootleg recordings of these songs. Actually, it were more home demos, and they leaked. So everywhere around the world, people were starting to listen to Bob Dylan and the band without them making any money off it. They were even being covered. I believe Fairport Convention covered some of the songs of this record years before this record was actually released. There is magic here. There is magic here. They are having fun. They are collaborating in a beautiful manner. And there is a very specific ambient. I love it. At number 32, Bob Dylan and the band, The Basement Tapes. At 31, Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow. This was the first Jeff Beck record that really took me, because he was challenging. There were influences of jazz and funk, and somehow going from the blues rock to this, it's such an enormous step, and it's wild and crazy and challenging. This is Jeff Beck's finest moment, in my opinion. I know there are people more into Jeff Beck who might disagree. I think this is his finest moment. Truly unique. At 31, Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow. I'm gonna take a sip of tea again. I think a lot of people will get a commercial when I'm holding a silence. Is that the case? Because I do not manually decide when you get a commercial video. It's done in, I believe, moments of silence. So I'm cautious with my sips here, because otherwise you're getting too much commercials. At number 30, Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Zuma. Yeah, Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Talking about great collaborations. There is a fierce power in Crazy Horse that just makes Neil Young's rough sound come out more. This record has one of my favorite Neil Young tracks, Cortez the Killer. The guitar on that song, the raw energy, the vibrant sound. At number 30, Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Zuma. At number 29, Neu. And most of the Neu albums are called Neu, at least more than one. The actual name given on the label, though, and that makes it easier and obvious that this should belong in the 1975 video, is Neu 75. This is German Pünktlichkeit, you know, not giving too many access to the name. It's the name of the band, Neu. When was it recorded? 75, so we're doing it Neu 75. Meanwhile, making some of the finest krautrock out there. The sounds here, the freedom, the rough edges. This is really, 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 really good. At 29, Neu 75. And although no, it was not from Köln or Cologne. I don't think so. They were in the area. You have this area in Germany of 3 cities being pretty close together. Düsseldorf is where Kraftwerk is from. Then you have Köln, Cologne. No, it may even be from Cologne. There are a lot of the great bands coming from Dortmund, Frankfurt, or Cologne. Now, why am I saying that? Because at 28 we actually have a Cologne concert, or the Köln concert by Keith Jarrett. This is some piano jazz, and at the moment of release, supposedly the best-selling jazz record out there, which I find hard to believe considering that at this time also Headhunters by Herbie Hancock and Kind of Blue by Miles Davis was out there. Nevertheless, this was a very big hit, a double record actually, and it's great. This is of great sound, and at the moment, at least in the Dutch cinemas, there is a film about this concert by Keith Jarrett. So, beautiful record, fascinating moment in time, big in the world of jazz. At 28, Keith Jarrett, the Köln concert. The Köln. Then, towards number 27. A record that I talked about 2 weeks ago because it was the, obviously, 50th anniversary, and Elton John released a 50th anniversary box set. You can look at my channel if you'd like to know more about that. For now, I'm just going to talk very shortly and briefly about Elton John, Captain Fantastic, and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. I think this is one of the best records Elton John did. And it's for a lot of reasons. Sound-wise, production-wise, there's a lot going on. This may be the most personal record. It is a story of Elton John and his lyricist, Bernie Taupin. It's their personal life in a grandiose, big rock record. Song-wise, we've got some awesome stuff here. Also, beautiful label, isn't it? We got the big hit, Someone Saved My Life Tonight. And what I'm absolutely loving, and I can't stop talking about, at least on this channel, are the following songs: We All Fall in Love Sometimes and Curtains, which I think are among the sweetest, best stuff Elton John has ever written, recorded. Such a gorgeous epic, great quality. If you find the first first British pressing like this one, it'll be an amazing experience. At number 27, Elton John, Captain Fantastic, and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. Going towards number 26. This is Richard O'Brien's musical. Yes, we're talking about a musical here. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Okay, well, I'm not talking about the film here. I'm not talking about the musical itself. I'm talking about the record as it is, with the cast members of the film version, with Tim Curry, with Susan Sarandon, even with Meatloaf on it. And although great names, they're doing great stuff, the core is this songwriting. This, coming seemingly out of nowhere, are beautiful written songs. Opening of science fiction double feature, which is the most gorgeous melancholic thing about B-movies. Making it very intimate and very close and giving it a lot of emotional meaning and depth. Damn It Janet is okay, but Over at the Frankenstein Place has some of the finest melodies out there. The Time Warp, classic, Sweet Transvestite, done by Tim Curry in the most stunning performance. Hot Patootie Bless My Soul by Meatloaf, Rose Tint My World, and then the Floor Show, which is stunning, epic, and we get I'm Going Home and Superheroes. Beautiful, beautiful ballads. Man, if you have not listened to this record, pause this video, go online, buy it. You'll have a blast. It is awesome. At 26, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Moving towards the second half of the video, I'm doing a switch here with the records because there are a lot of records. Here we have it. At number 25, I was talking about one of the best guitar solos ever out there. Well, I'm going to talk about it right now because at number 25, I have Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart. And the Mothers, it says those are the Mothers. Bongo Fury. The collaboration everybody was waiting for. And it is stunning. This is officially live recorded, but it's basically partially live recorded because Frank Zappa always messes around and takes things to the studio, and can even take the entire audience moment away and then put the audience moment in the live performance back in. With songs like Dabra Kadabra. Ooh, yeah, that's so good. Highlight for me, though, is Muffin Man. 5 minutes and 37 seconds of Zappa and Beefheart giving you a story about a Muffin Man building towards a moment where Captain Beefheart does the most beautiful repetition on vocals, and Zappa starts soloing as if his fingers are only following his own outburst of emotion. It is such a furious, stunning, warm, sharp sound, and it's taking you everywhere. Whenever I hear that solo, I just stand up and jump, and it's madness. It's madness. At number 25, Frank Zappa and Captain Beefheart, Bongo Fury. At number 24, we are in legendary territories here. Really, this is stuff of legendary territory. At number 24, Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years. Title track. Smoothest, gentlest story of I think, in my imagination, it's a casual meeting with an old lover. I met my old lover on the street last night. She seemed so glad to see me, I just smiled. And we talked about some old times, and we drank ourselves some beers. Still crazy after all these years. I sometimes promise I'm not going to sing anymore, but when you see a line like that, I mean, there's so much story going on, so much lovely lines. My Little Town, done together with Art Garfunkel. So it's got this short Simon and Garfunkel reunion, which beautifully builds. There's even a harmonica by Toots Thielemans somewhere on one of these songs. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. One of the most beautiful, smoothest, gorgeous pop, folk sounding, folk records. I play this all the time. At number 24, Paul Simon, Still Crazy After All These Years. And from gentle pop, folk pop, very sweet and nice, we move towards some heavy metal. Sabotage by Black Sabbath. I've been talking about Black Sabbath a lot last year because sadly Ozzy Osbourne passed away, and I've been also talking about this record more in the ranking all Black Sabbath with Ozzy Osbourne video. I think Sabotage is part of the run of one of the most legendary studio runs by any artist ever. The first 6 albums by Black Sabbath are, in my opinion, just like the last 6 of the Beatles. It's just stunning quality and reinvention after stunning quality and reinvention. Sabotage is the last one. This has guts. At number 23, Sabotage. I have something in front of my eye. There's a hair or something bangling, which is a little bit bizarre. But I'm gonna continue. Try to be professional. At number 22, Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac, the self-titled album after Fleetwood Mac basically became what we now know as Fleetwood Mac, with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks, of course. added to the bunch. This is, yeah, an amazing album. Great record. I don't know where to start. You know what? I should keep this video short. If you'd like me to talk more about Fleetwood Mac, I have a top 5 video in which I pay more attention to this wonderful, gorgeous album. So for now, at 22, Fleetwood Mac. At number 21, another Brian Eno record, and it's called Another Green World. Major step in the world of art rock and ambient music. Again, it's stunning that while Eno was here for this, shining with his solo glam rock a year before that, shining with Roxy music, and then suddenly he found another corner of music and he became one of the most stunning new voices in there. Also, this is the second entry which has some Robert Fripp, obviously, because they work together all the time, brilliant guitar player, and viola done by John Cale. So another addition for John Cale. Beautiful, stunning Brian Eno record. At number 21, Another Green World. At number 20, Steely Dan, Katy lied. And I'm wondering why I'm holding when I'm holding this. I did a top 5 video of Steely Dan albums, and I'm wondering, did I include it or didn't I? And that's the tough thing with Steely Dan, because for their 70s records, they are all at a very high level and part of a legendary run of great quality stuff, gorgeous sounding production, slick playing, making jazz and rock fuse in a way none other have done before or since. And they're all these records are way out there, but if you can only pick 5, it's so tough. This one, Katy lied. It's a masterpiece. At number 20, Steely Dan, Katy lied. At number 19, Earth, Wind and Fire, That's the Way of the World. And I recently bought this pressing. This is the first US pressing. I was walking down the streets in LA and in East Hollywood, and suddenly there was a street vendor and he was selling beautiful original pressings for $5 each. So I was so astonished to find this, because the sound of soul and funk records, of the bass and the gorgeous representation of voices, so much better. And this is one of the all-time great records, with songs like Yearning, Learning, Reasons, Africano, See the Light, Shining Star, That's the Way of the World, Happy Feeling, All About Love. You know what? I'm gonna put this aside. After I've done this video, I'm gonna give this another spin. This is good stuff. At number 19, Earth, Wind and Fire, That's the Way of the World. At number 18, Roxy Music with Siren. I should be talking more about Roxy Music on my channel, I know, and this will change in the future. This is a stunning, beautiful record. First of all, I like the sound of the way it is produced. It's so full, it's so challenging, and there's this element of mystery and mysticism in it. If it is the overall sound or just the voice of Brien Ferry, I'm not too sure. But even after Brian Eno left, Roxy Music has so much things to say, and they are still so challenging. Opening with Love is the Drug. Check out that bass. Doom, 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 doom. That's Love is the Drug I'm thinking of. Awesome song, awesome record. At number 17, one of my favorite Tom Waits albums, Nighthawks at the Diner. What is he doing here? Well, he recorded this record. He wanted to record it in full studio quality, but he wanted to give the impression of this being this jazz diner. So what they did was they went to a studio which was used to record orchestras, a lot more space. They filled it with tables and a bar. So people would be sitting there drinking their cocktails. And then in the middle, Tom Waits would be sitting and giving a show as if you are in a bar with gorgeous sound. And it has such a beautiful intimacy. Not just the songs are great, but his sketches, the jokes. He is a genuine, funny entertainer who creates this unique atmosphere. I wish I would have been there. That would have been one hell of a night. But then again, we have the album, and I'm pretty happy with that as well. At number 17, Tom Waits' Nighthawks at the Diner. At number 16, Joni Mitchell, The Hissing of Summer Lawns. Centerpiece in the work of Joni Mitchell. Challenging new sounds. I already did a video on this record on my channel, so if you're curious, check it out. I also did a top 5 video on Joni Mitchell. If you're curious, check it out. For now, at number 16, Joni Mitchell, The Hissing of Summer Lawns. At number 15, country. Guy Clark, Old Number One. Now, Guy Clark is one of those artists who stayed when he went to Nashville and tried to make a career. He was a more fragile, gentile soul, and he was sleeping on the couch of Mickey Newbury, one of my all-time favorite country musicians, just like Townes Van Zandt. And there is an emotional link there. It's smart, it's open, it's not macho country. And when he does the song Desperados Waiting for the Train, which he wrote, which was later done by the Highwaymen. And I love the version of the Highwaymen, but when you're listening to it on this record, it's heartbreaking good. So good. And the entirety here, this is really good stuff. At number 15, Guy Clark, Old Number One. At number 14, Curtis Mayfield, There's No Place Like America Today. Brilliant, smart, somewhat satirical, cynical, and musically brilliant developed record by Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield is one of the central figures in soul and funk, and had this brilliant approach to developing the music and giving it content. I think this, to me, this is my personal favorite of his. The narrative, the idea, the cover, it's just astonishing. At number 14, There's No Place in the World Like America Today by Curtis Mayfield. At number 13, another country artist and another masterpiece of country, Waylon Jennings, Dreamin' My Dreams. I believe that what the Rolling Stone magazine, when they did their top 50 or top 100 best country albums, they even put this record on number 1 or number 2. They put Dolly Parton on number 1 and this one on number 2. And that's not a bad choice, because Waylon Jennings is on fire here, in stunning control, with the opening track, Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way, which on so many levels works. The way the song goes, it's almost as if the rhythm is uninterested in whether it has a clear beginning and a clear ending. And the lyrics, Waylon Jennings doubting if Nashville actually does live in the soul of Hank Williams, and if they do truly understand what made Hank Williams tick, and thus what made country or outlaw country tick, and what makes him tick. And it's this song full of doubt and analysis of a very high intellectual nature, which I think is among the finest moments in the world of country. At number 13, Waylon Jennings, Dreamin' My Dreams. At number 12, a live album, but this is a central live album. It's Bob Marley and the Wailers live, recorded in London. I believe it was recorded at the Rainbow, though it doesn't clearly say on this on the back side. It was recorded with the Rolling Stones Mobile. None of that is interesting whatsoever if you listen to what he has to offer on side 2. Because when you listen to this version of No Woman No Cry, this is the version everyone knows. It's different from the studio version one in a lot of ways. Then you're just focused on that voice, that incredible presence on that stage, owning everything like a almost religious figure in complete control with a charisma, a stunning presence. Just side 2 is opening with that No Woman No Cry, the most brilliant version. You go to I Shot the Sheriff. Forget about Eric Clapton. Nothing beats this version. And then Get Up, Stand Up. Amazing moment in time. A stunning live record. At number 12. At number 12. Well, we're moving towards number 11. What else then? Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. Oh, can I say career changer for Led Zeppelin? That may be a bold statement. No. I think it's fair to say, because they were making more and more symphonic and progressive songs at this moment. The roots of the blues rock, they are gone by this time. And also within the band, the writing structures were changing. So they made this double album. One of the best double albums out there, honestly. Filled with great songs. For me, highlight is Kashmir, which has this amazing build-up, and then the voice of Robert Plant, the sharp edges, just painting vocals in the sky. Love it. At number 11, Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. At number 10, Frank Zappa, One Size Fits All. Zappa was on fire during the 70s, and this record opening with Inca Roads. What can you say? Inca Roads. Complex, but so inviting, and the entirety of this record is complex yet inviting. Two songs, two Sofa songs, Sofa number 1 and Sofa number 2. Andy is great. What can I say? Frank Zappa is just great. At number 10, Frank Zappa, One Size Fits All. At number 9, Parliament with Mothership Connection. It took me years and years and years to find an original pressing of this. And I'm so happy to have one. I love the playfulness on the cover here with the picture of the mothership. This is fun. I think this one is even more fun because of the back alley, and it hints more towards the vibe of this record. George Clinton is playful. That's what I like about him. He's playful. And he's working together with some of the most amazing musicians. There is a certain freedom and a certain liberty. And this is a stunning masterpiece of funk. At number 9, Parliament, Mothership Connection. At number 8, a record that actually has its 50th anniversary release later on in this week. Neil Young, Tonight's the Night. Which, after it was recorded, they were afraid to release it because Neil Young, after the recent passing of one of his former band members by a heroin overdose, had a certain sadness. And he went into the studio in one night and recorded this infused with stuff which I cannot talk about on YouTube. one night. This record recorded in one night. Tonight's the night. And there's this bizarre, chill vibe, a unique energy. And this record does take you on a trip for a night like that. It is just beautiful, stunning. Neil Young's Tonight's the Night. At number 7, Patti Smith, Horses. Produced by John Cale. Patti Smith found a balance between a slow punking sound. Also, there is also a rougher punk sound here, but it's a slow punking sound and poetry. And all of the unique capacities of what she's about are brilliantly captured on this record. Although I really enjoyed the record she did after this. This is the cornerstone. This is the one that started it all. Patti Smith, Horses, at number 7. At number 6, Kraftwerk with Radioaktivität, or also released like under the name Radioactivity. Kraftwerk has always been interested in technical concepts and give them within their almost robot-like approaches a beautiful tender soul. I think they are a very emotional band, though a lot of critique goes about the fact that they may be unemotional. I think they have a lot of emotions. And seldom has a group of artists pushed a genre, and in this case the genre of electronic music, as far as Kraftwerk did. And the melodies and the structures and the recurring elements, they are of the finest, stunning quality. I play this all the time. I love it. At number 6, Kraftwerk, Radioaktivität, Radioactivity. We're moving towards the top 5. On number 5, Willie Nelson, Red-Headed Stranger. Willie Nelson recorded a record, beautiful, intimate and raw, and when the record company heard it, they said, well, this is a good demo, but go out in the studio and make it work. And Willie Nelson said, no, it's gonna sound this raw. And this was the moment that a country artist could play for hippie audiences, because he found a beautiful, unique sound, not giving in to the commercial questions and the demands of a somewhat, sometimes, or traditionally more conservative audience. I think country has been changing, and I think this is one of the milestones in the changing of the conservative attitude in country. My uncle never liked music, and when he just turned 70, he came to a party of mine, and I said, well, we're gonna play some music, and he said, nah, I don't like music, then I'll head home. And we played some records, and he was just about to leave, and then I put this on, and he heard it. And he never enjoyed music in his life, but certainly he started tapping his feet and humming along. And when the entirety of side 1 finished playing, he looked me in the eye and said, let's go to side 2. The only and first album that my uncle ever loved. Red-Headed Stranger. At number 4, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. Opening with the most amazing harmonica done by Bruce Springsteen himself, Thunder Road. And the thing is with this record, it's not the small, just rough, wild energy, guitar driven that Springsteen did before this. He actually wrote most of this record on piano, and there's this grand element to it. As a matter of fact, the team behind Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell thought that they were doing a satire on this record on Bruce Springsteen, because this is bombast. This is grand. Thunder Road is grand with so many levels and layers of music, and then going into 10th Avenue, Freeze Out. Ooh, it's so good. Backstreets, Born to Run, She's the One, Meeting Across the River, and this most gorgeous epic Jungle Land. Well, after Earth, Wind and Fire, I'm gonna put this on because I'm getting so excited just talking myself through the track list. I can't wait. At number 4, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. At number 3, Bob Dylan, Blood on the Tracks. One of the finest moments by Bob Dylan. And the big return, in my opinion, of Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan was going through a breakup, and breakup is written all over this record. Opening with Tangled Up in Blue. Man, write a song like Tangled Up in Blue, and then follow it up with Simple Twist of Fate. They were together in the park. The way he sets the mood, the way his lyrics guide us through that night. It's so sensitive, it's so good. You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go. Idiot Wind is great. Shelter from the Storm. Meet Me in the Morning. Bob Dylan on fire. Blood on the Tracks. At number 2, we are going to see a 50th anniversary of this in 1 or 2 weeks. So I will be talking about this record more on this channel. But is it possible to talk too much about this? Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. After the success of Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd found themselves in a new landscape, a new scenery in Hollywood. And they were struggling. How do we stick to ourselves in a world that has big demands? And that became the first theme of this album. And through that theme, vocalist, bass player, and songwriter Roger Waters was thinking about the time that they had their first breakthrough, late 60s, but when he was not the frontman, and when they had a different frontman, Syd Barrett. And Syd Barrett went insane during that period, when they first had their big breakthrough. And Waters, in that state of how can I stick close to myself, was reminded of Syd Barrett. So that became the second layer here. And you can hear it on songs like Shine On You Crazy Diamonds. This record in all its entirety, with the way it builds, with the most amazing melodies, heartbreaking lyrics, a very vulnerable Pink Floyd on songs like Shine On You Crazy Diamonds and Wish You Were Here, and very ironic and satirical on a song like Have a Cigar. They made something that is completely unique and a mark in music history. At number 2, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. And I think a lot of people may have thought that this one would have been the number 1 spot. But no. Number 1 spot goes to a record that it's actually the first record I ever played. And though that may sound as if I chose it for just sentimental reasons, I think a lot of viewers will agree with me when I give this record the credit it belongs, or the credit it's, Queen and Night at the Opera. Queen's finest moment in the studio. The moment when they opened with Death on Two Legs. A fierce, angry Mercury dying for revenge on their manager, going into the beautiful, soft, quirky, old 20s kind of melody of Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon, flowing into Roger Taylor's raw voice, drum driven I'm in Love with My Car, going into You're My Best Friend, another hit single for Queen. Going into 39, which is being revitalized last couple of years. A lot of new young people actually are finding that 39 is the most awesome Brian May ballad. Going to beautiful rocker, Sweet Lady, to Seaside Rendezvous, Queen being very playful. Side 2, opening with the Prophet song. That was the first song I listened to. I thought I started playing at side 1, but I started playing at side 2. I was 14 years old. I had a headphone on with a great mastered piece of vinyl, listening to the Prophet song, and I thought I was losing my mind. These voices, these instruments coming from everywhere. I was unaware that rock music could contain anything like this. The Prophet song, flowing into the sweet sounds and the beautiful recorded piano of Love of My Life, a new anthem for Queen. And then Good Company, lovely, quirky. And then you hear the big one, Bohemian Rhapsody, on vinyl. Oh, ending it off with God Save the Queen. This is sacred. This is sacred rock territory. At number 1, Queen, A Night at the Opera. So those are my 50 picks. I'm curious, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.